Every shadow has a story. Every unexplained sound could be a link. I'm Tiffany, and for years I've used my skills as a paranormal investigator and psychic medium to do more than just record activity. I'm here to find the verifiable evidence and build a case. This is Beyond Logic with Tiffany, the place where we use intuition, technology, and empathy to look past the sensationalism, humanize the spirits we encounter, and put the pieces together. The dots are out there, and we're connecting them. You're listening to Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Hi, everybody. I'm here with Lynn. She is a psychic medium. Is that what you go by?
Yeah, I actually use Evidential Psychic Medium, but it still works.
Okay, evidential psychic medium, Lynn.
Yep.
And I'm happy to have you here. I've been looking forward to this, so thank you. Oh, and I'll kind of let you take it away a little bit. Explain
Oh,
who you are
okay.
and what you do, and
So as I said, I'm an evidential psychic medium. For me, that means if something comes through, the problem is I'm also like hardcore skeptic.
okay.
So I have that kind of working with me and against me in some cases. So if something comes through and I'm doing a reading for someone, and it's not something they can validate, I kind of have to shelve it, I guess, and wait till something validatable comes through. Um, Even though they may go, oh, well, yeah, that's true. But I'll be like, well, who are we actually speaking to here for you? So I always look for, clues. Tell me who for the spirit that's communicating. Tell me who you are. Tell me what I can tell my client so that they know who you are. So there's no question who they're talking to. And it's the same when I do, I go on location tours and I'll read the spaces there. And sometimes I get shown something and it's like, no, we can't validate that. So I will never not be a skeptic, so this is what I have to deal with.
That's all right. Uh, I think all mediums in general have a different way of how they receive information. How do you do it the most? Like, do you get visions? Do you see symbols? Or how does it work for you?
Usually it's vision in the mind. Sometimes the spirit will actually appear beside me or behind me. When I see spirits, they're usually full body like regular people. So there's no, you can't see through them or anything like that. And then I'll have to describe, to the person I'm doing a reading for, or if I'm on a tour, I'll describe the person to whoever I'm with and say, this is who's speaking to me right now. Here's their description, kind of thing. Um, Sometimes they will speak audibly to me, which I always find very disconcerting, but they do it. And there's a mix, they'll mix in symbols or little images, pieces of their life or something so that I can report back and say, this is what I see them doing, or they're showing themselves to me when they were 6 and this is what they were doing at that time, that kind of thing. It's sort of all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We've talked, I mean, back and forth on Facebook quite a bit about different things because I post my random questions all the time, and you
Mhm.
and you have some really good feedback of things. But the one thing that you did mention was that you didn't really get to embrace yourself when you were younger. How did you navigate that?
I was not allowed. When I was really young, my parents sort of humored me for a while. But I grew up Irish Catholic, and my first imaginary friend was my grandfather, who passed away 3 years before I was born.
Oh,
So, anyway, I would constantly be talking to spirits, and I also remembered a previous lifetime, so I would confuse who I was when I was a kid with the person I was in the lifetime before this one. Created a lot of confusion, and I think ultimately what I came away with from the reaction from my family was it's best to be seen and not heard. Um, there were some family members that were like, what you're doing is evil and you're going to go to hell. I got a lot of that. And so by the time I think I was, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10, I was like, okay, I have to somehow not do this anymore. I have to shut it down. And so as I got older and got to make choices about my own beliefs and stuff, I kind of buried myself in religion.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I was hoping that, they could like clean my soul out or do an exorcism or pray it away or something. But the deeper I got into religion, the stronger the thing that I was doing got.
Oh,
Yeah. So I spent 60 years um, getting way, way deeper into religion. And, um, I would just try to embed myself and hope that nothing happened, but something always happened, or it would happen more often. When I turned 60, a little switch flipped in my head and said, hey, you're 60 years old. You can't keep pretending that you're not something you are or that you're able to do this kind of thing. So that was when I was just like, okay, no more religion. I'm done with that. Um, I'm just going to explore whatever this is. And if it's a real thing, it'll continue in my life. And if it's not, I'll get bored with it and drop it. So that's pretty much where I was. Yeah.
that's honestly, I think how a lot of people are. Wow, you hit the nail on the head with that. If it's real, it's going to continue, and if it doesn't, you're going to drop it.
Right.
That was like very enlightening to me, and so I guess, um, I do you think it can be taught, or do you think it's just something that evolves within you?
I think everybody is intuitive, everybody is psychic, everybody has abilities. Um, and really it comes down to they can make a choice whether to explore it or not. And there's no, if they choose not to, there's no wrong in that. If they choose to, there's no wrong in that. It's like, you know, maybe their life path or their whatever it is they're supposed to learn in this lifetime has nothing to do with those abilities at all. So they can just dismiss it, and there's no judgment with it. It's just like, okay, you do But people ask me all the time, do you think everybody can do this? And my answer is yeah. Um, there's a degree that it's teachable, and there's a degree that it like runs in the family or somewhere in your genetic line. Um, I finally figured out in my family, I got it from my dad's side, which also happened to be the strong Irish Catholic side. So they were all actively trying to squelch whatever it was they were able to do.
That's interesting and very
Yeah.
contradicting all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, so they were actively, I know my dad had abilities. He would once in a while mention to me seeing something or speaking to someone that wasn't there. Um, and it wasn't, it didn't come across as like mental illness. It was like this really happened. So, but at the same time, he would turn around and say, well, I don't really want to deal with that. So, yeah. So I had to figure out for myself whether it's something I wanted. Nobody pushed me into it or pushed me out of it. By the time I turned 60, I was like, I'm making this decision for myself. So,
Okay, good. Um, so do you feel that you can shut it down, or did you at that time, or did it just kind of overtake you and you just kind of were just like, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore it?
um, I never could shut it down.
Okay.
It's never shut down. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I've taken like these intuitive courses and, mediumship courses and oracle card courses and everything else. And everybody's like, well, you don't always have to be on. And I'm like, apparently I do, because nothing you guys are telling me is working. It's not doing it. It's not. I don't get any rest, you know,
Oh,
because of that. So
okay. So for you mentioned tools a little bit. Do you use like tarot cards or anything like that for this, or is it purely just you?
it started off just me exploring working with oracle cards. I took an oracle cards class. And the first person I read for, who I'd never met, it's like a Zoom class, and they would, do breakout rooms, and you'd have to go read for somebody else. And so the first reading I did, the lady's grandmother shot through and was giving me a message. She gave me her name. Um,
Oh,
and then I was like, okay, I thought I was just supposed to read what was on the cards. And so when I reported back to the class with the person that I did the reading for, I was like, is this supposed to happen? Because I thought it was just, you just read what's on the cards. And they're like, well, some people that happens to, kind of thing. So anyway, every other reading I did beyond that point was exactly like that.
okay. Do you think that the cards made it easier for those messages to flow through?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, you're allowed to use the oracle cards. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to learn how to connect with, your great, 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 great aunt. We're not going to teach you how to do that. We're just showing you how to look at a card and maybe see a message for the person you're doing a reading for. But every time I would do that, I would not only get whatever was on the cards, but I would get family members shooting through, or something that happened in the person's past that needed to be addressed, or, you know, and I was like, I guess I'm doing this different, you know. So even in the Oracle class, it got to, before I was in that class, I think almost 2 years. And eventually they stopped having the classes. But the last 6 months I was in it, people would get, dropped into the breakout room with me, and I wouldn't pick up any cards.
Oh,
Uh, and the people that taught the class, they were like, just do whatever it is you do. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
that's pretty neat. Do you still use them, or is it just all
I
information that
still
comes
use
through?
them. Sometimes I'll tell people I'm going to do a reading for you, and I'm going to use my oracle cards. And I might pull one card, and that will sort of set the tone of the message. But then
Okay.
everything else beyond that just sort of tumbles out.
It's so fascinating to me how people operate in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, because I've had readings done by other people, um, and they all have their different methods, and I'm just like, how did you do that? Can I learn how to do that? And then I'm like, no, that's your way. I have my own way. So I don't really worry about too much about like the mechanics of it anymore. It's like when I do a reading for someone now, it's just like, okay, nice to meet you, and then stuff, just words start flying out of my mouth. It's like I don't have any control over it. I do, but I don't. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. It's just like
I do.
there's like an emotional import, and it has to be said right now,
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
I've def-
I blurt everything. Everything's a blurt. It's you know nothing mean. I always get messages to kind of encourage people, or, maybe go in this direction with your life, or do this, or whatever, or deal with that issue back there because it's messing with you now, kind of thing. But yeah, everything is pretty much for me just blurting things out.
my forte also.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's been a few things that just fly out and I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. And then somebody
Yeah,
ends up
but
crying. But it's never
when
bad. But
when you do it, do you feel like, I mean, sure, I can control it. I can just clamp my mouth shut, but do you feel like there's like it's the wrong way to do it, or is it natural to you to do it that way?
It really depends on the person. I feel like if I've got more of a connection with a person, it just kind of flows more freely because they already know who I am. And
Hmm.
and it's never, like you said, it's really never negative, but there's certain things that fly out and it's just like, and they have such a um intense reaction to it. It's just like, oh, should I have said that? And it's usually something that they say, no, 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 you're okay after the fact, but it's usually such an intense hit for them that they don't know how to take it initially. And it usually makes me feel bad, but it all evens out eventually.
Yeah. I mean, like I think the last three readings that I've done one-on-one with people, I go through the whole reading, like I spend a whole hour, sometimes longer in the reading, and it's like nothing comes up. And then it's like 10 minutes before the reading is supposed to be over. And I'll say something, and all of a sudden it's like waterworks. And and then I feel bad. I'm like, was I not supposed to say that? Now I've like upset their whole equilibrium here. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm supposed to say what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah. And like, yeah, that makes sense. And like I said, it usually balances out. So I feel like those things that we can't control are the things that they absolutely needed to hear to be able to
Right.
move on with whatever that situation is.
Hmm.
So it's understandable.
Yeah.
So I got one more. Well, I won't lie. It might be more, but one more for now about your gifts. Do you have any telltale signs of like confirmation? Like I get goosebumps. Is there anything like that for you? Like if I say something, I'll get like goosebumps down my arms, and I'm like, oh, yep, that was right, or that was what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, my thing is I feel like something like swirling in my solar plexus area.
Okay,
That's kind of how I know that something in there was true,
gotcha.
you
Makes sense
know.
to me.
And if I tell people when I do the readings, I'm like, if you can't validate this right now, this is why I do follow-up readings. When they purchase a reading from me, I'll give them another half hour, 2 weeks or a month or 2 months after the initial reading. And I'll say, has anything come up for you as a result of the first reading, that you want to revisit, or maybe still don't understand it? And most of the time when they get back on, they're like, well, that thing you said about so and so, said, yeah, you were spot on with that. I just didn't realize it at the time you did the reading. So, but and if I do location reads, it's like I definitely want validation. I want historical facts. Show me the facts.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's to me, it just feels like making up stories, even though I'm still getting that internal, solar plexus validation. You know, it's like, please just show me the facts. Was I right on this? Was I a little right? Did I go far left? What happened? You know.
Okay, so I did say I was probably lying because another question did pop into my head, but it does tie to what you said. Do you see auras at all?
No.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right. So when you're reading, or I'm sorry, when you're going to an investigation, do you go in cold before you read the place, or do you like to do your research beforehand?
I don't do any research. Typically, I'm not even told where I'm going.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first time I did that with the Spooky Solomon's ghost tours. We went during the day, and he was kind of gauging. He was very skeptical, and he was kind of gauging, because he's like, I don't really believe much in psychics and all that stuff. So we went down to Solomon's, Maryland, down here. And I never went inside any of the buildings. I did all the readings from outside on the sidewalk.
Oh,
And it was an hour and a half. Super hot that day. I just remember just being so hot. And he would walk with me, and I'd stop somewhere, and I would just, everything would tumble out. And then I would say, that's all I got on this. And he might share a little bit about something that happened in the spot, but he wasn't telling me much. This guy has the best poker face of anybody I've ever met. So that's kind of how the whole thing went. And then, I'm coming back home and I'm in my, I get in my car and I'm like, wow, I must have really blown this reading. I mean, the only reason I really went to do that with him was because I wanted to see if it's something I could do. It was like I wanted to challenge myself, and I didn't want to know. I said, don't tell me anything about anything. I said, I know nothing about the area. I worked in 2 places down there, but I never researched the area because I was too busy working. I didn't have time. And so I said, I just want to go down cold. You go to wherever you want to go, and I'll tell you whatever I get. And so that's what we did. And anyway, I got back in my car and I'm like, wow, I blew that. I was like, I'm never going to hear from this guy again because such a skeptic, you know, and he really didn't say one way or another whether anything I said was validated. So anyway, about 6 hours later, he gets on his Facebook and posts about me. And he's like, he says, I don't know. I don't understand how she could have known anything that she did, you know.
Oh, wow.
But all I remember was we would stop at the place. I would blurt, and then I completely forget what it was I was talking about. And then we go, and then I'd say, that's all I got on this location. And then we'd walk to the next one. And that was the whole tour like that. And then on the way home in the car, I was getting more information about something else that happened down there. And so I'm in the car and I'm like calling in and I'm texting him, it's like, come on, can we shut this down? I want to go home, So anyway, it was really interesting. When I saw his post, I was like, really? I did that? So I still don't believe it. I go down there, I go to different places, and I'm like, I still don't believe it. I'm like, he must be talking about somebody else. It can't be me. So anyway, yeah.
Do you do investigations at all on inside, or do you strictly just stay on outside things?
I have never had the opportunity to do an investigation inside.
Oh, okay.
So I've only been doing this since June.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Wow.
location reads, and I do remote location reads for another paranormal group. So they'll go into a space and I tell them, don't tell me where you're going, tell me nothing. And they'll go in the space and they'll shine the flashlight around and I'll say, okay, I need you to go further over there, or what's in that door over here, because I'm picking something up. Or I'll describe a space that's within that space that they don't see yet. And I'll say, look for this spot. And I'll tell them what the features of it is. And I'll say, those are your active spots. So
That's really neat.
yeah. I mean, again, it's just self-challenge. I know, I've gotten some readings like really wrong, and it doesn't bother me. And I know this is going to happen with locations at some point too, and I'm just going to have to be like, all right, I'm human. I have limits. It's cool. You
Good
know,
outlook.
I mean, I know you do investigations and you go in there, so you probably are reading the space and doing the investigation. I'm assuming that's what, I mean, because you can't help it, right?
Yeah, most of
Yeah.
the time, I mean, we just actually went to an investigation in Iowa. I'm sure I've been posting it up the butt. I'm sure everybody and their brother saw it now, but that was a very interesting place. It was a heavy place. It was the Villisca ex-murder house.
I saw
And
the little picture of you standing out front of it.
yeah, and it was, oh my goodness, it was so heavy. But we, after, I mean, because we don't really talk about it while we're in there. I mean, we do, but we don't. And that's, I feel like just every investigation ever. Um, but we did a podcast after the fact, and one guy asked me how I knew or how I knew anything, something, and I'm like, I don't know,
Hmm.
because I don't know. And the longer that so it's weird for me, anyways. And I don't know if this is the same for you or if you ever get the opportunity to do an investigation if you're ever interested. sometimes the longer I'm there, the harder it is for me to read because I get so much right like from the jump, like right as soon as I walk into a location.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like an overflow of information. And then the longer I'm there and the more I settle out, like it's like, okay, the excitement's gone, which is weird because you really would think it would be the other way around, but it's not for me.
Oh, so is it just like information overload to some extent, maybe that's making it harder for you to pick pieces of whatever's coming in,
It
maybe?
could be. It varies on the location too. Velisco was rough on me. Um, I usually, I hate saying this because it's so weird. I gag when I know that somebody's died in, like in a specific spot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's super, super powerful. And sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm sick. I need to get out of here because I'm gonna start, I get sick. Velisca, I didn't even have a chance to think. I was shaking when I was walking up the stairs. My knees started to buckle and I just got super, super violently I just started gagging and it was uncontrollable. And people laugh. I kind of laugh, but at the same time, like it's a physical reaction to it. So it varies. I've gone to a few different places where the longer I'm there, the more they get comfortable and they'll come to me. But Velisco is a whole different ball game. Hinsdale
Mm,
House was interesting. That one I could actually mellow out and sit in each room, and I could pick up on certain things um, that some people couldn't pick up on right away. Where else have I gone? Rolling Hills Asylum. I've gone there. The third time was the most crazy time I've ever been there.
mm-hmm.
I got pushed in a wheelchair, which was the coolest thing ever, and everybody's face like hit the floor, mine included, because I was just so stunned that I moved. Um, That was really neat. But I was also still really developing my skills, or I guess trusting myself enough to develop them at that
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think I need to slow down and kind of let myself process things instead of allowing myself to be so open right from the jump. And that's because I filter a lot very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I am as a human too. I process emotion probably faster than I should sometimes, and other times
Yeah.
I'm just stuck. But
Yeah, I don't know when I do like there's a place down in Solomon's where a murder took place. And what's unusual is I'm like emotionally detached from it. So I could just like, okay, this happened and that happened, and this is what happened after the murder, and you know, how people tried to cover it up or, you know, um, I don't know why I'm very emotionally detached, and I actually think that's good for locations because I think if I went through what you did, I would be like, I'm done, I'm going home now. I wouldn't stay with it. Like, you know, Adam, the guy who runs the tours down here, he wants to go to some other places. We went one day to a local cemetery in Lusby here. And it goes back to 1600s or maybe a little earlier. And I just went to help him find what was it, Revolutionary War gravestones. I had no intention of reading the place, nothing. But as soon as I turned in there, I was like, okay, I'm being watched from all directions here. I mean, it was like I couldn't ignore it. Um, and then I ended up picking up, there's a female spirit there. I picked up on her and her daughter, and she's now a spirit attachment with me. But she says that she's sort of acting as a guide for me right now. And so we actually have, it's a very comfortable friendship. Um, she hangs out with me a lot. Um, but I just wasn't expecting any of that. And I didn't pick up, you go to a cemetery and you're thinking, it'll be all solemn and all that. And it's like I wasn't emotionally attached to. I don't know how I'm trying, I'm trying to describe something I'm still learning and I can't make sense of that. It's like, if I know a murder happened, shouldn't I like be like crying and upset or something? But I don't. It's like I just register facts and then we're done. So I'm babbling. Okay.
No,
I'm just trying
it's
to figure
interesting.
that out. I haven't been able to sort that out. It's I am not a person that doesn't have feelings. I'm very emotional in real life. But when I go to these places, it's like I'm detached. I'm like, and maybe it's a safety mechanism for me to some extent, you know?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to absorb the energy from things, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I kind of wish I was a little bit more detached when I did certain things like that. So it may not be a bad thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would take that as a win.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it stays that way for me. Adam wants to go to Point Lookout. I don't know if you've heard of Point Lookout, but
Mm.
there were Confederate prisoners that were kept there, and we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people at this place. And he wants to go there, I guess, to because he's researching the history, and I think he wants to do tours there at some point. And I'm like a little intimidated because I don't know what that kind of energy is going to do to me. But I told him I'd go. I said, I said, don't tell me anything. I don't even want to know. I did go camping once there. They have forested areas near the park. I went, it was a little over 30 years ago. And while I was asleep, something grabbed my foot and was fiddling around with my foot. I found out later that that's common. It's spirits that are walking around toe tagging dead people on the grounds. Um, but at the time, my husband's like, "Well, don't you want to go up and look at the lighthouse and go up onto?" And I just kept saying, "No, no, no, no. I don't want." I was like, I didn't want to get anywhere near that. So now I have to go in it. So we'll see how that works out. More
Do
learning.
you, yeah, for sure. Do you do anything for protection or anything?
Yeah, I do. Like it's mostly visualization things. I
Mhm.
do carry crystals with me. Truthfully though, I don't really put much value in a little piece of crystal keeping something off of me if it wants to bother me. So, but I do visualizations, and then I don't know if you saw my post, but when I first started doing this, spirits would come through at all hours of the day and night, especially when I was trying to sleep, to try to get me to listen and then pass messages on to people. And I was like, I can't. I went for I don't know 3 months with like no sleep because of this thing. And anyway, I had to sort it out, so I created a green room for them. I
Okay.
visually created this little room,
Mhm.
and I said, "Look, see this room over here? It's got green walls. I actually made it have green walls." And I said, "I'm going to show you what this room looks like, and I want you to go in there and then just stay there. I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to come back for you." I said, "After I've had my rest, I need my reading and my rest at night." I said, "After I do that in the morning and I've had my coffee, I will come to the green room, and the first person that showed up, we will have a discussion. And then you can tell me whatever it is you have to tell me, and then you can go about your day." And that's what I ended up doing. And except for two spirits, everybody has gone with that. They're like, "Okay, we understand what you're getting at here." So, mhm.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, imagining mirrors around myself that were facing outwards, that wasn't helping. Um, Balls of energy kind of helped, but I was like, since I do everything kind of weird and different anyway, I'll try the green room, and it worked. So, yeah.
Do you ever have like, I know it's difficult kind of for me to do it on cue, But do you ever like walk through the grocery store and like have like just something like gnawing at you and you're just like, man, I really want to approach that person? Yeah.
Yeah. It happens too much, and it's happened to the point where I really don't go to the grocery store anymore. My husband doesn't realize that why he's doing all the grocery shopping as often as he is. If I go to like Walmart and there's more than 3 cars outside, I'm like, no, I'll just order on Amazon. I just can't do it. I do have people, if I go to the doctor's office or whatever, for whatever reason, a person will come sit down next to me. There'll be open chairs all over, and I'll have one person come sit next to me and start talking and telling me their whole life story. And then I say to them, sorry you've been through all that. If you need to talk more, here's my card. I mean, I don't do hard sells on the readings, but I say, if you just need somebody to talk to, just get in touch with me here. It's my way of saying, let's not do this in this space, because
Right.
I'm already nervous. I'm at the doctor's office or whatever, or dentist's office or whatever. So I'm like, if you really want to talk and you need to get this off your chest, and okay, email me, you know, we'll talk. And they do take me up on it.
Oh,
So,
good.
and I'm okay with it. That's totally fine. I mean, it's kind of my job. So it's just right then in that space is not the place to do that. So,
Right. Has there any ever been a time that you just couldn't keep it in and just was like, excuse me, I just need to tell you this real quick, or if you just
yeah,
completely, yeah.
that's happened. Yeah, a few times. Yeah. I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and it was like, because I would just suddenly get something, and then I would sort of have to meander around it a little bit and then say it, because if I just blurted it out, I think it would have really just freaked them out. So, you know, and a couple of those people ended up getting actual readings with me after the fact. Um,
So it's success. Oh, that's good. I'm always nervous to do that. I don't know if it's just me or what, but I'm always like nervous about just approaching random people because it has happened a couple times to me. Matter of fact, we were at um, well, I was at I don't even know what it was. It was like a barbecue type thing. And I was like, there's somebody that lost a brother, and I don't, and there was two people standing behind me, and I'm like, I want to say something because it wasn't my place to say it. And I was encouraged to say it. I didn't. I've kept it to myself, but they needed to walk away or I walked away, one of the two, because I couldn't, I would have just blurted it out.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just too nervous to just blurt it out to people I don't. If I know you, it's a different story. It's out there, but so I was
Yeah,
just
and
curious.
you don't know where they are emotionally. Are they going to be like overly reactive to it? You don't
Right.
want to create that in a public space, because then it just upsets them further, upsets you, upsets the public space, you know. So I think there's times when it's like I want to say something but I don't. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they will eventually get the message from someone else or somewhere else if it wants to come through that strong, you know. And there's times people will come to me and they'll want to have a reading done, and I have to look at them and say, I can't read for you. And they'll be like, what? And I'm like, I am not the right person to do this reading for you. And it could have something to do with they're looking for like somebody to read their aura, for example. They want to know about their health or whatever. And I send them to the person that reads auras. People that have activity in their homes. I don't do home clearings or any of that. So I'll say, get in touch with this person. So I have like a whole list of people
Mhm.
that I refer other people to, and they seem to appreciate it, because I don't want to go in somewhere and act like I'm an expert and I can fix your issue or even tell you what the issue is when I'm not. Again, I've only been doing this since, actually doing readings for about 2.5 years out of 64 years of my life. I'm still a newbie. So I'm okay with that. Give it to the ones that have been doing it for years and know what they're talking about.
I feel like to some extent, no, we all could still grow no matter how long we've been doing it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but I understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
mean, I've had oops, go ahead.
But no, like I said, I've only been at this a couple years. So, I will defer to people who have longer experience doing this. I am willing to try new things, but I have to kind of do it at my own pace, I
Mhm.
guess.
No,
Anyway,
absolutely.
what were you going to share? Because I'm curious to hear what you were.
Oh, so I say I've seen spirits since I was a kid, and I always thought it was normal, but I still don't consider myself anything special or advanced in any way. But
Yeah.
I mean, I do have people come to me though sometimes and be like, "How do you do that?" And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
cousin and I, she's funny sometimes because she'll text me randomly and she'd be like, "Are you in a bad mood?" And I'm just like, "Go away." Like, yes, I am. No. She's like, I just felt really uneasy, like I needed to reach out to you. And I'm just like, okay. I was like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I was like,
Yeah.
Just next person, go ask somebody else if they're okay. Go ask your sister, go ask your mom. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay. And we've always been kind of connected that way though. But she shut herself down. I shut myself down actually when I was probably, I think I was 26.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I shut it all off. I mean, it was still there, but I just ignored it to the point where I just pretended it didn't exist at all. I would still see things out of the corner of my eye, and I'm just like, nope, that's not anything. It was a car driving by. I would make excuses for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, within the last 3 years, I kind of kicked it back into overdrive, and it's definitely scared me a few times too, because there's certain things that I shouldn't know that I do
Yeah.
know. There's feelings, there's my dreams. My dreams are insane sometimes. My dreams don't always come true exactly how they are, but they come true in some way,
Mm-hmm.
um, which really drives me nuts sometimes because I really just wish that it would just be how it's supposed to be. I had a dream once that I was driving through just ash falling from the sky, and I'm like, this is impossible. This is never going to happen. Like, there was a whole bunch of trees on fire. I don't really live near any thick wooded areas anymore. When I was growing up, I did. And the situation in the dream was weird. So I just took it as it was my subconscious just trying to move through the stressors that I was dealing with. Well, probably about 6 weeks later, I was driving home with my child in my car, and I was like, "Is that ash?" And she goes, "Huh?" And I was like, "It looks like there's ash falling from the sky." And sure enough, I look over and the field's on fire, right? And it looked almost identical to my dream, but it wasn't
Oh,
exactly
goodness.
the exact scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean by like I have dreams that they're not always exact. They're close, but they're not, and it drives me bananas sometimes.
But but does stuff like that, I mean, I don't want to get like too personal if you don't want to share it, but like, even all this time that I was like going to churches and everything, at one point I was a Jehovah's Witness, and this was um, I had just left, like, I'd been in a Pentecostal church for like 20 years. And then I converted to being a Jehovah's Witness. And then shortly after that, 10 years after that, I became a Mormon. So, whatever religion was going to give me the most protection was what I was trying to aim for. But right after I left the Pentecostal church, and I had still been having these experiences, dreams and weird seeing things before they happened. And the Friday night before 9/11, I had a dream that I was on the road that circles the Pentagon. and I was in the back seat of a car. It was like a carpool situation. And I remember seeing this dark shadow. And then I looked up out of the back. So I was on the driver's side, and I looked up out of the back of the car, and there was an underside of like a jet, a passenger plane. And it was so close to the car, it was like I could almost reach up and touch it. Um, and it was headed straight for the Pentagon. So
Oh.
I called a friend of mine, somebody that's kind of helped me even through all the weird religions. She's always stuck with me, and because I think she knows on some level that it's not something I can get rid of. And so, she had more experience, and I called her and talked to her about it. And I said, I see this happen, but I said, there's no context. What's the context? It's like, who do I tell somebody about this? And then, of course, Tuesday, the following week, is when it actually happened. And I was so angry because I had been shown this with no way to tell anybody, that this potentially could happen. I mean, who has a dream about being in a carpool when you're not even working and seeing a plane crashing into the Pentagon? And so that was, for me, that was my shutdown. I was like, done. I don't want any more of this in my life. I hate it. I don't want anything to do with it. So, I mean, from then until, like I said, till I hit my 60s, is I was just like, I don't care if anything comes through for me or anybody else. I'm going to ignore it. I was so angry. I was like angry at God, angry at whoever was doing this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not fair, but at the same time, I can only take so much. Um, and so, like I said, the switch flipped when I was 60, and the spirit communication went into overdrive about 6 months after my mother-in-law died. I lost 7 family members from 2014 to 2020. Um, so, including my dad, my stepmom, aunts, uncles, siblings who unalived themselves. Um, but 6 months after my stepmother passed away, my father, my stepmother, and my real mom, who passed away when I was 8, they all came through together to contact me. I was awake. I was not asleep when this happened. And from that point on, it was just like everybody's coming. Everybody's paying a visit, even if they don't know me. It's like open channel, bing, kind of thing. And that's when I started losing sleep because everybody kept popping in. So, but that was kind of what kind of pressed me into going, okay, I need to look at this.
Well, they knew that you could help people, I think, and I think that's partly why we're put here.
Mm-hmm.
I could be very off about that. It could be just an anomaly somewhere along the line, but
I
I,
mean,
I
I know people are genuine, like what we do, we are genuinely helping people,
Mhm.
whether it's a group of people or one person, or just giving somebody something to think about, to kind of like expand on and their own growth or whatever.
Mhm.
So I really don't know. I can't say I absolutely helped this person or this person, but I think I am. And that's good.
Yeah. And it may not always be immediate, and that's kind of what I have to tell myself is, sometimes that the reactions aren't always what I expect, but that doesn't mean that it can't help them in the long run.
Right. Right.
And I know I don't listen. You can tell me till you're blue in the face something, and I'm just going to say, well, I'm going to find out myself. And usually I
Yeah.
will find out myself, but it would have saved me a lot of time if I would have just listened the first time. And that
Right.
goes with spirits or other people or anything. I mean, I can't usually read myself. I can every now and again if I really focus. So
I can't at all.
it
I
kind
have
of
to go to other psychics to get readings. I no.
isn't that interesting? And everybody asks, why don't you just read yourself? Because I'm not biased or I am biased toward myself.
Right.
Some
That's my answer every time. I'm biased, I want the outcome I want. So if it doesn't read the way I want it to read, or I'll go, oh, you're lying to me.
Yep.
You know. So
Happens often. And I do try to shut my brain off and be like, no, I'm going to focus on just nothing and see what comes through. And it doesn't help at all.
mhm.
But I mean, I like tarot. I know you said you like, I almost said something way off topic. Oracle cards.
Mhm.
I have oracle cards too, but it's easier for me to read tarot. Have you tried tarot or or no?
I own 55 tarot decks. I don't have any idea how to read them.
I don't feel bad
It's
now.
interesting because I'll use the oracle cards, and I get a lot from the oracle cards. Once in a while, I will leave the tarot deck on my desk, and if I need clarification on something that keeps popping up in the message in the oracle cards, I'll flip the tarot card, and then all of a sudden it's applicable in the context of that specific reading. But if you told me to, put 5 tarot cards down and read them, I'd be like, okay, well, this is a queen, and this is that's the tower, and ooh, the devil, that kind of thing. I have no idea what any of it means. Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite with oracle cards. I can pull tarot, I can read tarot, and I can pull an oracle card and pull out that book and see what that says because of that card, and it'll match, but I couldn't just read it the way that you can.
Oh, the oracle cards?
Hmm.
Yeah, the oracle cards, I never read the guidebooks.
I'm the
I'm like,
opposite.
I'm like, thanks for the extra paper, but I'm not going to read it. Because every time I pick a card and it's in a spread and it's for this person or that, the meaning of the card changes with every person. And it's interesting. Um, there's some weeks when I'll do multiple oracle readings and the same card comes out across. If I have 5 readings, same card shows up somewhere in the spread across all 5. And it means something completely different in each reading.
That's interesting. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Which I was like, really? So I don't read the guidebooks, and I think that's kind of why I don't read tarot. It's because I don't want a fixed meaning.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I would like to learn the system. I belong to all these tarot study groups, and, you know,
Oh,
are you
my
all right
goodness,
over
you almost went down.
there?
The whole thing collapsed. I'm so
Oh my
sorry.
gosh. Yeah, that was me. Ooh.
I,
Um, but it's funny. I mean, I would like to learn it. I have 55 decks because I like the art. I have 55 Oracle decks, but I only use 2.
really?
Yeah.
I guess I can't. I'm the same way. I don't know why that surprised me, but I have 2 tarot decks that I'll use nonstop. My Oracle decks are all over the place. I just whatever I feel drawn to, I'll use. But like here, I got them right here actually, because I'm a weirdo. My Lightseers deck, I
I
absolutely
have
love
that
this.
one.
Do you? This is my
Mhm.
favorite one. I love it. The messages come so clear to me, and they're just easy. Well, for me, they're easy to read. Some people they're not. Uh, my first ever deck was the Rider Waite deck, and it was, I don't know, I thought that was complicating. I have
Yeah.
one deck that I can't read at all. I don't understand it. I can't get my head around it. I don't like it.
What is it, a tarot deck?
Yes, it's
What?
I can't think of the actual name of it, but it's like a Native American deck. And I
Mhm.
don't know if it's just because I don't know what the issue is, but that's the only deck I have picked up that I have not been able to read anything from. And it
Really?
frustrates me to no end.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's
I
been a
I
few
just
people that I can't read, but not ever a deck.
Mhm. And what Oracle decks? You said you have some of those?
Oh gosh, I've got so many of them. I've I bought my daughter a unicorn oracle deck because she was infatuated with unicorns and she's super interested in all of this stuff. And I call her my little witchy girl, even though it should, but that's just how it is. But I have a Gothic oracle deck. I've got Moonology. I've got um intuition, something or rather another. There's so many.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would just get drawn in by the cool pictures and then, you know, $75 later or whatever, I can't read them. Yeah, I have Moonology and there's like a second Moonology deck. It's like, I can't read these. And everybody's like, well, use the guidebook. I don't use guidebooks. So, anyway.
They are tools if you need them, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't really care for them much either because sometimes it doesn't hit what you need it to hit,
right.
I guess. I wish I could read Oracle decks a little better than I can. I can't. I just that's just how it is. I just can't. And maybe
I
that's
don't know.
just me.
I do know that I can teach somebody how to read Oracle in about an hour.
Really?
Mhm.
Well,
And
maybe
I
I'm just
just found that
stubborn.
out a couple weeks ago. I was like, I had one person that was interested, got her on Zoom, walked her through the whole process, and she goes, "Why did I make this so hard?" You know? She's like looking at the guidebook and I said, "Put the guidebook down." I'm going to explain to you how this really works. So, and even the deck I created has a guidebook, but I'll never use it.
Hmm,
So,
that's really neat.
yeah.
Yeah, one of these days, maybe if you're ever bored, I'll take an interest in picking your brain a little bit. But
Yeah, just let me know. I'd be happy to do it. It's fun. I enjoy it. And, I just kind of go with what I was taught and then how I do it. And I guess it won't make sense to everybody, but, you know, for some people, it's like they're too worried about fixed meanings. And I'm like, what I do is basically remove that. I'm like, we're not doing fixed meanings. We're going intuitive here. And so that's what makes it different.
I think it's neat when people look up the meanings of the cards that I read, and then what I said 2 minutes before they got to the meaning of the card is the exact meaning that flew
Same
out of my
thing,
mouth. And it's like, well, I kind of know what I'm talking about on occasion,
yeah.
but I shock myself with it sometimes. I'm just like, holy crap, I just said that. And they're like, yeah.
Mm,
But
yeah.
it's fun. It is a lot of fun to do. I've done it. I watched my mom do it my entire life, which is what got me into it. And I've done it for others for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, of course, I was just a teenager then. But
Yeah.
well, me and my cousin, me and my friends, we'd always mess around with tarot cards and, oh, would you do my cards? And it kind of stuck with me and it's fun now. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
fun back then, but it's a lot of fun now to do it. And I'd like to start to use my cards on investigations and stuff to see if I
Mm,
can connect with spirits that way. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you have any other questions or topics that you might want to cover?
Mm. I don't know. I think for me, I'm just working through getting over the hurdle of um actually going into a location. Um, I'm like broad daylight, I could probably do it. I don't know about walking around in the dark with a flashlight. Um, and there's still stuff that I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. So I don't know quite. I don't. I don't understand how people like somehow know that I do this without me saying to them that I do this. It's like what is like bringing them into my orbit.
Your aura, your energy, it draws people in. Oh, I'm going to ask a very strange question, but it might make sense. Do
Go
you
ahead.
like when you when you're walking, is it like people almost walk into you because it's like you're invisible?
No.
That's your energy drawing them in.
I just thought they were looking down at their phones.
No, because I mean, there's been time. Well, I mean, I guess it could be. I won't just say no, but there's been multiple times where I've been like, I'm right here. I make eye contact with people. I work in a casino though, so like I'm constantly walking and with people, and they'll
Hmm.
walk pretty much right through me, and I'm just like, hello, you saw me from 47 feet away from you, and they don't care. But
Hmm.
I've learned that those people are drawn towards me for some reason or another. They may not know the reason. I don't know the reason, and I'm fine with never knowing the reason if they keep going by me. But there's other people that'll walk up to me and, like you said, they'll tell me their life story, and I don't care. And that may make me sound horrible because I do sit there and listen to them, but
Hmm.
most of the time it's like, I don't know why you're telling me this.
Yeah, I get that too. And then there's times when, it's like rush hour or whatever, and I'll go down and sit down in the gazebo at Solomon's, and I'm like the only person there, right? I'm just waiting until Adam shows up and the rest of the tour group shows up, and it's nice just to sit there and watch the water from the boardwalk and whatnot, just kind of clear my head. But then I'm like, all of a sudden, somebody's walking up to me and starting a conversation, you know. I see people down there all the time and nobody ever approaches them. But if I'm down there, it's like all of a sudden, okay, well, there's a woman sitting there. We're just going to start talking. I'm still not used to that. It's but it's the same thing. It's all of a sudden they're like telling me their life story. And it always starts with something small. It's like, oh, well, I live over in St. Mary's and I work over here. And then all of a sudden they're telling me some deep story of something they've been through or whatever. Um, I don't do that to people. I'm like, small talk. And really, I don't like small talk, but that's what I do to other people. But they do the opposite to me. Help me. So,
I
you
get that.
know. And then the other night, I did want to ask you about this.
Hmm.
I was watching, you were on a podcast. I don't know who the gentleman is. I see his feed pop up all the time. It was you and one other lady that I think you knew because you guys were talking
Oh.
like you knew each other. And the question came up about, and I'm just going to be honest about it, doing this for money.
Hmm.
Um, I have spent a long time sort of fighting with that, because it's like I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but at the same time, I'm using my time and to some degree my skill. I do more free readings than I ever done paid. I might get 2 paid readings a month and do another 40 for nothing.
Hmm.
So I was wondering what your thoughts are on that. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule, but there's I see a lot of people and it's like everything's a money exchange. If you get 15 minutes of my time, that's $35. Otherwise, I'm not communicating with you. So maybe you have some other view on this or perspective that I am missing here.
No, I fall very in line with your thoughts, and that's when it's my own podcast, I'll just lay it all out. I don't care, but I'm usually try to be professional on other people's podcast. And real quick, I'm gonna backtrack. I have never met that girl before in my life. I don't know who she was. I didn't even know she was gonna be on the
Oh, so
podcast I
you
was
know which
on.
one I'm talking about?
Yeah, with the gentleman that was she was in like Japan, I think, and then the other guy was
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never met either one of them
I mean,
before
it was
that.
a very interesting conversation. And so I sat there, I was in like the last 40 minutes of it or something like that. I just sort of drifted in there.
Oh,
But
um, I won't say that I've never been paid for a reading. I have, um, because it is still my time, like you mentioned.
mhm,
However, I don't charge a lot for my readings. I charge
right.
mostly for my time more than my skill, I
Mm,
guess,
yeah.
because I am still new to the charging for people and all of that stuff. And honestly, like, there's some high numbers out there. And it's like, I can do the same thing that these people are doing. And I refuse, and this is just me personally, and I don't know what you charge or anything like that, and this is not meant to offend you in any way, but I won't pay like $280 for an hour. I won't do it.
No, no.
There's the very popular psychic mediums out there. Sorry. Like Tessa and oh, she just completely I blanked on her name. Teresa Caputo. They charge an ungodly amount of money. And I don't know if that's just because they're a TV personality or what, but like I do the same things that they do, and I don't understand why they charge so much.
Mhm,
Um, I mean, I charge $35 for a reading. I
mhm.
don't have a time limit. I don't have I mean, I put a disclaimer that there's not a guarantee that anything that I say is going to, feel accurate or anything like that, because there isn't a
Yeah,
guarantee.
I do that too. It's like,
But as you said, I've done more free readings than I ever have gotten paid for. But then there's the people out there that I know. What is wrong with my voice? I know that they are trying to. I had somebody reach out to me. I'll just put it out there, and they asked me if I could give them a discount or go to a cheaper price because they'll say I'll do a $5 reading or a $10 reading, and you'll still get the same service, but it's just because I'm bored and I have some free time, and why not make an extra couple dollars?
right, right.
But they asked me, they're like, well, can you give me the deal price because I've never had a reading before? Well, no, because that's still my time. And if you're reaching out and already asking for favors, there's something that tells me that I shouldn't give in to you or give you a free reading anyways.
Right.
Because that just doesn't settle well with me. When it's somebody like that, that's just looking for something cheap because they want it at a discounted rate, that doesn't settle well. Like I said, I've given away free readings. I post on a group that I have with a ton of people. If you want a free reading, I'll let me know. Like there's just a day that I just feel like I need to give somebody a message.
I do that too, yeah. Mhm.
So it's not really a concrete answer on my end either. And sometimes I do feel guilty for charging, but at the same time, this is not something that's my time that I'm never going to get back in my life.
Right.
So it just compensates for time more than anything else.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah,
everybody.
I get that too. I mean, the best reading offer I have is $111, and that's for an hour, which usually ends up being an hour and a half to 2 hours because I'm not paying attention to it. This is a fixed hour. It's whatever they need. And then I give them a follow-up call built in with that price, at some point, a couple weeks or a month down the line. Um, which I think is totally fair, but then I see people that are like, okay, get 15 minutes, $35. And people are really quick to part with their money. I don't want to do that to people. So this is kind of like a constant conversation going on in my head here, because it's like you were freely given this gift. Well, it has kind of cost me for the last 60 years.
It's draining sometimes though too, and I don't think people really know that.
Yeah.
You are using your energy to channel whatever information is coming through. So I
Mhm.
get it. And again, I'm not knocking any prices or anything like that. That's just something that fits for me. 'Cause, I mean, I don't know. I'm just me. And
Yeah.
that's, I have a hard time booking readings though. I don't know if it's because people are skeptical. I don't know if it's the area I'm in or because there's an overabundance of people that say that they can read. I'm not sure. But
Yeah, I have the same thing, and I think it's all those reasons. And then the other thing that happens is once there's been like 2 times that I've offered readings and then posted it as a Facebook ad, and my message box explodes with people wanting to get, they're like, does my boyfriend love me?
mhm.
They want instant question, and my answer always is, did you ask him? I mean, does he respect you? Is he kind to you? You don't need me to tell you that. But they're like my inbox gets bombed with these questions. And there's no it's like my ad said this is to book a reading, you know. I don't know. It's just people can be weird, and that includes me. Um I just think it's just kind of strange. And I don't know what happens to me from here. I enjoy doing the location readings a lot because I love to interact with, if a group goes with us. um you know i I've been down to Solomon's, I don't know, 6 7 times now. We did what we called psychic ghost tours, where I would go down, and as I'd pick information up, I'd share it, with the group, and then Adam would share the historical part. Um, and those have been interesting. I always pick up new information from places,
Mhm.
because there's so many layers of, hundreds of years goes by, and you've got all these layers on top of layers of information. Um, so I love doing those because I love interacting with people.
Mhm.
Um, and then he wants to, like I said, go to Point Lookout, which I'm just like, okay, I need like, triple protection bubble for that place. But I'll go. If I don't like being there, I'll say I don't like being here, and that'll be it. Um, Booking readings like you, it's like I advertise them, but it's rare for somebody to actually book. So I'm like, I don't really quite know what my function in life is, Tiffany. That's kind of the whole bottom line. And then I'm trying to get my deck published so I can sell that. Um, yeah. So right now everything's like up in the air as far as what direction things take with me.
I feel that in my soul.
Yeah.
Because there's just, I have so many ideas and so many things that I'm trying to get off the ground. And honestly, it just feels like nothing's moving. But I
Yeah.
know that there's other things in the background that I can't see. And I'm just hoping that that's what eventually pushes me to where I need to be. And I have faith that it will. I mean, I believe in the universe. I don't know if you have any belief system like that still. I know you said that you kind of pushed everything aside, but I'm kind of agnostic, I guess, in that sense, or spiritual. I go back and forth between the two, which I guess agnostic is kind of all encompassing. So,
Yeah, the agnostic stuff, I get, my mom's side of the family, they're pretty much agnostic and or atheist, depending on what day you ask them. And then I had the hardcore, Irish Catholic bit, so it was kind of a mixed bag for me. But I think that all this stuff has led me to being very skeptical of everything. Um, so even with regards to myself, and my attitude now is, as far as earning a living doing this, if I could get my deck printed and start selling that, then I would be less worried about, is it right or wrong to charge people for readings? You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
that would be my income. You're buying an object from me. Um, the tours, I love doing the tours. The more I get to do, and I'm 64. And I'm like, I just want to pack as much stuff in to however much time I have left as I possibly can. And my husband's like, well, you really should, relax and retire. No. No, not doing that.
I don't blame you. I I don't know. I mean, I'm in my early 30s. I'm 33, so I still got a little bit of time to go, but
Mhm.
I'm the same way. I like to go. I like to try new things and have new adventures, and I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll try new things. I'll try going to like I'm told like Point Lookout is like the most haunted fort in the world or something. Okay,
Oh,
I'll
wow.
go. I'll go. Um, and then I think somebody else said something about, if we come to Maryland and actually do an investigation, would you like to go? And at first I was like, no. But I was like, I am curious about like the equipment. And, I think for me, the most compelling thing for evidence is EVPs.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is because I think it's the most difficult thing for spirits to do from the other side.
Yeah,
I
I can
mean,
agree with that.
they can push things around and they can, knock books off of shelves or whatever, but actually speaking and saying something that's coherent is, I think it's really hard for them to do. So when they can do it and you get a recording of it, I'm like, oh wow, you know. So I don't know about like, have you ever worked with like an SLS camera or any of that? I mean, what do you think about those kind of tools? And then
I
somebody's last
oh,
week, okay, I'm going to throw this on top of that, and that is somebody, they have all these ghost apps now that you put on your phone, and they're like, they don't really work. So take it away. What are your thoughts? I'm interviewing Tiffany now. Okay.
so I have had the opportunity to work with an SLS. It wasn't mine personally, but I did go to a place where it was like a private, or I'm sorry, a public event, and they kind of let everybody kind of look at it and use it. It was interesting. I'm not so sure if this is going to sound really, really horrible. I'm not sure if I would trust somebody that I don't know to put a video up of it and have it work that way. Um, because it's super easy to put points on a screen and just say that there was something there.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm there, it definitely helped the credibility a little bit, but I'm still skeptical of it. The phone apps, we used the Spirit Talker while we were in Villisca. Oh my gosh, sorry. And there was some things that came across that were definitely like, okay, I can get behind that. And then there was other things that were like, no, that doesn't make sense. But it doesn't necessarily have to make sense to us either at that
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
We put our phones on airplane mode, so there's no radio interference or anything like that that could cause the disruptions of it. There is an app called Ghost Tube. I believe it was based out of the UK. I had somebody reach out to me and want to use it or ask me to use it. I can't figure out for the life of me how that thing works. So I have no idea if it works or not. Um, it was weird. It was like it had like a little compass on it and there was a red dot, and sometimes when you turn, the red dot would move this side and but your phone's pointed over here. I couldn't figure it out, so I have no idea, but I don't know if I trust stuff like that either, just because there's so much in a phone that already picks up on what you're saying and all that. So I don't know if it's just because we talked about Villisca for the last, I don't know, month and a half about going there and driving there, and if it just happened to pick up the names from whatever. I don't know. Um, because even on airplane mode, I mean, it can still, I guess, kind of have some sort of intelligence to it.
Right.
The actual tools, I'm really skeptical about some of them. The K2 meters I'm okay with for the most part. Because I mean it picks up fluctuations in energy, but you have energy too as a human, so sometimes you have to take that into consideration too. Um, the dead bell. Oh my goodness. I'd like to love to think that those things are just that it's awesome, but then that logical part of my brain is like, is it really working? But when we were at Velisca and it went crazy, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
really big part of me that thinks that if it was broken or malfunctioning or something, it wouldn't have stopped. It would have just continued to go nonstop regardless. So I mean, I do trust tools for certain things, and then but I trust me more because I know what I'm feeling and I know what I'm seeing and all of that. So I'm my best tool, I say. But I also like my dowsing rods. A lot of people don't like dowsing rods. They don't like pendulums because they think that there's too many variables for it. I try to remain as still as possible. If I'm sitting at a table, my elbows are like locked in, so they're not moving. Um, I mean, so I guess it depends on the person, but I don't know. I still
Yeah,
like to use me.
the ladies that I do the remote viewings with, they use the dowsing rods, and it's really interesting to see how they work. I mean, because I'm like I'm watching them, and I know they're holding them properly, and and it's just like I'm just like, oh goodness. Um, yeah, I tried using one of those ghost apps in my apartment. I do have a ghost in my apartment. Um, and she's been here since the day I've been here. We have sort of an agreement that, you know, you can hang out here, it's fine. She's going to be here until a certain person passes away, and then she's going to go with them. Um, but what's funny is, we'll walk through each other sometimes now, and then both of us are going, oops, sorry, you know. I mean, most of the time I can see her, but sometimes I can't, so I'll turn a corner or whatever, and she's there. And I'm just like, very small apartment, hard to miss. But anyway, back to the app. So I turned it on, and I'm just, really quiet. I'm just sitting on my sofa and letting it run. And it starts talking about like cow and refrigerator and just nonsense. I was like, okay, so there's a cow in my refrigerator. Is it referring to that steak we just bought? Or is it a whole cow? Or, I mean, you can kind of translate it any way you want to make it fit, you know. Whereas
Right.
EVPs, if they say something specific, pretty much that's what it is, you know.
Oh yeah. I love my recorders. Every time I go to a location, I have recorders. So those are my favorite tool, besides myself,
Mm,
of course, but
mhm.
because I like the live EVPs and stuff that we can get.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know, I would probably trust the EVP recorder, or yeah, I would trust the recorders more than myself at this point because I'm still fresh in the field, so to speak. But yeah, it just seemed, from my experience, the most difficult thing for spirits to do is actually audible speech.
Mhm.
It requires a level of control over multiple environments, I guess, that makes you go, they really have to know what they're doing and what they're saying and why they're saying it in order to make it happen. So to me, that's, although
Yeah.
I have heard, I have had audibles. My dad decided it would be funny to learn how to speak out loud, and so he showed up one day. I'm sitting there watching TV, and he's talking to me from across the room. I'm just like, please. He thought it was funny. He's like, I spent all this time learning how to do this. You should be impressed. And I said, I am, but you scared me to freaking death. And then he's like, well, I taught your stepmother how to do this too. So she shows up another day. And finally, I had to say to them, I love hearing from you, but there's just something weird about hearing a voice that doesn't belong to a person, even
Mhm.
though we do it all day long, radios, TVs, internet, everything. But like, no. So he does it still once in a while, and then he laughs, and then he stops. He thinks it's a joke. My dad was always like, you gotta make a joke out of it or a pun, sarcastic. So I
That's
am his
awesome.
daughter. Um, anyway. So I don't know if anything I've shared is helpful to anybody or not, but and I always end up with more to think about after I talk to people about this stuff. So that's cool.
I'm always happy to help if you want to bounce ideas off for me or anything like that. And
Okay.
I think everybody's always able to help in some way, even if it is to ask more questions or have more questions in your head, and because you're never going to learn if you don't ask, I guess. I mean,
Right.
that's why I think it's interesting learning how other people's gifts work or how they knew that they had them, things like that. Because I don't know, I always thought I was weird, but I also thought I was normal to a certain extent too. But the older I get, the more I realize I'm just weird. So it just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean the weird and my name fit together. It should be like my middle name or something. Maybe my first name. I got to change my Facebook page. Yeah. But it's funny because my husband knows, he will sometimes be in the apartment and I'll do a reading for somebody. He's very quiet and very respectful. He doesn't say anything. But I'll get off the call and he'll look at me and he'll say, "Don't you ever do a reading for me. I don't want to know." Because he hears me say these things and the people are like, "I don't know how you do that." So, yeah, what's he hiding from me? Mm.
Oh, oh, that's really
But it's
awesome
just
that
fun.
he.
It's just funny. He is very supportive of what I do, but he has not a clue of what it actually is, so.
That's awesome that he's super supportive, but he
Oh, yeah.
doesn't have like any abilities or anything.
I think he does. He has, like, precognitive dreams,
Oh, okay.
but then he'll share it with me, and then I'll talk about it later. He goes, "I don't have any dreams. I don't dream." "Okay. Alright. Okay. We've only been married for 37 years. I still have to figure you out." So,
Love that.
but he thought it was funny when I went from, like, being super religious to doing this. It's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I have no idea. I'm exploring." He says, "Okay." So,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it could be worse. I could, um, what is that thing where you do where you jump and you bounce up? What is that thing?
Bungee jumping?
Yeah, I said, "I could be doing that and developing new skills in bungee jumping. Instead, I'm doing this. It's very calm. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna get hurt." So, I don't know.
I love
This
that. That is
this
really
is my
awesome.
life. Tiffany, this is it. So, I will be doing this the rest of my life, whatever that is.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
I'm glad I found you, or you found me. I'm not really quite sure
I
how
think we
that
found each
order.
other.
Yeah.
I think it was I posted some weird question in a group, and everybody was like, "Okay, here's my $50 worth on that." Um, it was interesting. I can't remember now what the question was. It's still floating around on the internet somewhere, but I think that's where we tracked. But
I think so. Sounds about right. But yeah, no, this has been a lot of fun. This has been really cool. I hope you enjoyed yourself as
oh
well.
yeah,
Um, and I'm gonna say it too, if I'm ever in Maryland, because I've never investigated in Maryland, I will let you know. And if you're interested, you always have an open invitation.
okay, same here,
I
same
appreciate
here. Um, there's a lot of places down here in Southern Maryland. We have a witch over in Leonardtown. Her name is Maul Dyer. So there's a whole backstory to Mull Dyer. She has a whole week dedicated to her down here by the town. And then there's we got these military bases and places like Solomon's and St. Mary's City. And I mean, it's just all, because the area we're in was one of the first settled in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So it goes quite a ways back, but I just have to keep telling people, don't tell me anything, because it's funny because the guy I do the tours with, Adam, he's like, well, you can research it before. I'm like, you're kind of missing the point. I'm like, no, I don't want to know anything. He's like, well, you can know the dates. Okay. Yeah.
It's tough. And we all follow each other in this community, which is awesome. I love the support for that part of it. But man, sometimes I ruin stuff for myself just by looking at other people's posts, and I'm just like, oh crap, no, I'm going there. I got to keep scrolling, and just so I don't mess it up for myself.
Right.
But the people I'm investigating with now, they're really very respectful about not telling me anything. Or they'll say, do you want to know this? And I'm no. And they're like, okay, we'll move on then. So they're really good with that. And I'm super appreciative of that. And I know they're going to watch this. So yes, you guys are who I'm talking about. And I appreciate it. But
thank you on Tiffany's behalf. Yeah, but I mean, I just like going in cold is the way to me. If I know something in advance, I may try to doctor it up in my head without even realizing I'm doing it. So don't tell me anything. I'll just wait until something hits me when I'm down there, kind of thing,
exactly.
So anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I know this was kind of a strange interview, but
no, not at all. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to meet you, I guess, in a lack of better terms, face to face. And this is a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you taking the time. So thank you.
Well, thanks for letting me do it.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
I'd love for you to share this episode with one friend, colleague, or
all right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, and I will see you on the interwebs.
Yes. See you there.
Okay, thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
Make sure you follow me on all my platforms. Facebook is where my community gathers. Join the conversation, share your thoughts on the episode, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes content and Q&As. If you're on YouTube, head over to my channel to watch the full video version of this podcast and check out extended interviews and deep dives. For short, impactful, and shareable clips, follow me on TikTok. You can find all 3 platforms easily by searching for Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Until next time, keep questioning the narrative, keep exploring the possibilities, and stay beyond logic.